Hi friends, I hope you're doing well and that you've been able to enter 2022 full of hope and creativity and anticipation and audacity. I'm really looking forward to journeying through this year with you, whatever we may face. See, I believe that now is the perfect time for a community like the Evo Faith Tribe. People across the world are burned out on religion, to use Eugene Peterson's words. And we are longing for ways to show up authentically and courageously in our lives, in our relationships, and in our world. And that is exactly what Evo Faith is about. In the next few weeks, we'll be exploring how we can live our lives on purpose a little more this year. The pandemic is still with us. This year is probably not going to be a whole lot easier than the last two. But now we're prepared. We have a much better idea of what to expect. And we can use these first few weeks of the year to prepare ourselves to live fully and intentionally, no matter what the year may hold. And so I hope that the next few weeks of videos will be really practical and really helpful for you. I also want to encourage you to take up an on-purpose challenge through the month of January. Each week, I encourage you to post one intention that you are setting for yourself related to the specific area of our lives that we explore in that week. And as we do this, let's encourage one another and cheer one another on. Let's offer support, stories, and any helpful insights that we may have to help each other set our course for a vibrant, creative, and fulfilling year. If you're keen to take part in this challenge, then please join the On Purpose Challenge group in the Evo Faith Tribe. That's where we will post our intentions and share the journey together. I hope to see you there. And now let's get started on today's practice. Take a moment to still yourself. Focus on your breathing and intentionally breathe more deeply and slowly. Try to let go of any stories or presumptions about yourself, your relationships, your world, and about God that might keep you from opening to life in this practice. And I invite you to make a commitment to be receptive to anything that God or the universe may want to offer you through this practice. And then when you're ready, ask yourself, where am I now? Think about this particularly as it relates to your spirit, your essence, or your authentic self, however you may think of it. And when you feel that you have a sense of an answer to that question, ask yourself, where do I want to be at the end of 2022? I invite you to keep your answers to these questions in mind throughout our practice today. Now take a moment to think about yourself. Who are you in this moment? What do you feel good about in yourself? What do you wish you could change? And now project yourself forward to this time next year. What would you want your future self to be like? What differences would you like to have brought into your life? When you imagine your future self, what do you see? And what would you need to do starting right now to bring that desired future self into being? When I was in my teens and 20s, the idea of planning was completely foreign to me. It's not that I resisted planning, it's that it never even occurred to me that I could plan my life and be intentional about who I was becoming. I practiced my music when the feeling came on me. I studied when I had to. I practiced my personal spirituality sporadically and followed the schedules of my community whenever I needed to engage in spiritual practice with others. I was fortunate to have a good enough memory to hold all the necessary details of my life in my head, And so I saw no need for calendars or diaries or lists. But as I became a husband, a father, a worker, and as I detached from my dependence on my parents, my life became far more complicated, and my free and spontaneous approach to life started to break down. Thankfully, I married a woman who was brilliant at planning, and I learned to be more aware of the various details of my life and how to stay on top of everything. It's not that I stopped being open to flashes of inspiration or that I stopped being open to unexpected opportunities or moments of spontaneity. I just became more intentional about who I was becoming and how I was living. And I've discovered that this being intentional about who I'm becoming and how I'm living, this is a lifelong journey. I've never stopped needing to learn how to hold all my personal needs, my relationships, my responsibilities, my dreams, and my goals together. I've discovered that it's disturbingly easy to fall into living on autopilot. The demands and difficulty of our human existence can be overwhelming. It can be exhausting just to keep all the balls we're juggling in the air. And that's without working on becoming our best selves. So for many of us, it feels easier to just go with the flow, to react to whatever life throws at us, and to steal moments of peace and rest whenever we can. But is this really easier? And what is the cost when we choose being on autopilot over waking up and living on purpose? Now, I'm not saying that we all need to be hyper-productive all the time. I'm not saying that we need to build our lives on achievement and success and constant self-improvement per se. All I'm suggesting is that our lives are richer, more meaningful, and more fulfilling when they are truly ours, when we own our lives and do the work of showing up authentically and wholeheartedly. Then not only do we feel more alive, but we are also more connected with ourselves, with others, with our world, and with God or life or the universe, depending on how we understand the greater reality from which we come and by which everything is connected and brought to life. The quest to live fully and meaningfully is what is often referred to as a spirituality. I'm aware that we all have different ideas about spirituality, faith, and God in this tribe. That's how it's meant to be. And all our different views are welcome here. By spirituality, I'm not saying that you have to believe in God the way religions speak about God, or that you even have to believe in God at all. But if you do believe in God, that's wonderful. If you don't, that's wonderful. But spirituality is about connecting with our essence and the essence of our world and of our universe. It's about being intentional about how we live and how we connect with other living beings around us. Or to use the words of Jesus in the Gospels, to live fully is to seek the pearl of great price, to embark mindfully and intentionally on the adventure of learning to live wholeheartedly and abundantly. This week on Facebook, I was moved by a simple cartoon which showed two friends talking. The first said, "Aren't you terrified of what 2022 could be like? Everything is so messed up." To which the friend replied, "I think it will bring flowers." The first friend was surprised and asked, "Yes? Why?" "Because I'm planting flowers," his friend answered. That's intentionality. And in the next few weeks, we will be exploring how we can live more intentionally in all the different areas of our lives. I've used the idea of the wellness wheel before. It was developed in 1976 by Bill Hetler. And the wellness wheel is an approach to whole person health that can be really helpful as a guide to abundant living. We'll find that in some areas we are already awake and engaged as fully as we want to be. And in other areas, we will probably find that we're on autopilot and we could use a more intentional approach. Our spirituality is, in one sense, just one area in our lives, but in another sense, our spirituality, or what I'm beginning to think of as our life practice, is the heart of everything we do in every area of our lives. And so for this week, I invite you to consider your own essence, your authentic self, your spirit. Do you feel connected with your truest, most authentic self? Do you feel that you are open and receptive to the flow of life, spirit, or God in your life? How do you experience your spiritual core, your intentionality, your willingness and capacity to show up in your own life, your own relationships, your own world? Where would you rate your health and your sense of purpose or direction for the year ahead? How do you imagine yourself a year from now? What would you hope to do and be this year to nurture and grow in yourself? And how can you begin today to set your intention to live as much as you are able on purpose in 2022? And so I invite you to take a moment now to sit with today's meditation. What spoke to you? What challenged you or excited you? What do you want to carry with you through the rest of the week? And now when you're ready, I encourage you to think about creating a vision board to use throughout this series. The idea is to gather images, symbols, words, or anything that will help you to envision how you intend to live on purpose this year. You can make your board a physical collage on a board to which you add new elements each week. Or you can make it a graphic document on your computer, your tablet, or your phone. Or you could include it as a page in your journal. But I believe that doing this will help you to work more deeply and intentionally with the practices of each week in the series. And if you're feeling especially brave, you can even post a photo of your vision board in the On Purpose Challenge group, but there's no obligation to do that. And so I invite you to feel free to pause the video now if you need to, as you think about what you want to add to your vision board through this week. And now as we end this video and we prepare to go into the rest of our week, I encourage you to think about what intentions you want to set for this area of your life, this area of spirituality, of your essence, of intentionality. What systems will you put in place this year to support your intention? And what habits will you build into your life to make sure this intention becomes a reality for you? If you want to do even more work around this, I'll be writing in more detail on the Evo Faith blog about setting intentions, putting systems in place to support them, and building habits so that our intentions become an integral and automatic facet of our lives. And now I wish you an intentional week, a deeper connectedness with yourself, with others, with the world, and with God or the universe, however you may understand that higher power. And I wish you an extended capacity to live on purpose. See you next time.